Secret Service has launched an investigation against the former FBI director for a post he put up on social media threatening President Trump. Also, Walmart has made a shocking announcement when it comes to raising their prices, and Democrats are demanding reparations.
Disgraced FBI Director James Comey making a threatening post against Donald Trump tonight as the president is overseas. Fox's Peter Ducey is live from Abu Dhabi with all the details. My goodness, Peter.
And Laura, the real head scratcher about this very serious topic is that James Comey wants us to believe, and we have this photo here, that he saw a cool, these are his words, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the cool shell formation, according to the person who used to be in charge of the FBI, shows shells in the shape of 8647. 86 is common restaurant lingo, of course, for denying service to somebody. But after about 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that a good chunk of people all around the world also associate 86 with meaning to kill somebody. An old mob saying, basically, you take somebody 8 miles outside of town and then you put them 6 feet in the ground. James Comey, again, a guy who has prosecuted mobsters, apparently had no idea that this was a thing. He deleted the original post with the cool shell formation, and he writes, I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, and I took the post down.
Now, this is a story that has been exploding on X. All conservatives are reacting to it, of course, because it's James Comey. Everybody knows about it. Democrats are definitely going to be silent on this issue. And the fact of the matter is, whether or not he directly or indirectly or intentionally or whatever, it doesn't matter. The fact that he's a former FBI director posting a picture that is perceived to be, inciting violence, I think that tells you everything you need to know. And the excuse that he is unaware of that, as if we are supposed to believe his level of ignorance as a former FBI director, is just unfounded. Now, Don Jr. had this to say.
That's not enough for Donald Trump Jr. He says, just James Comey casually calling for my dad to be murdered. This is who the Dem media worships. Demented. And Kash Patel, as we were coming to air, the new FBI director, one of Comey's successors, is saying that he is in touch with the Secret Service, and they are going to be sending Secret Service agents to talk to James Comey about what exactly he was getting at. Patel says, we are aware of the recent tweet by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support.
Now, in case you didn't get a good look at the photo, this is what it looks like. I mean, let's just use basic logic and common sense. Let's just act like we're not even a person who has access to high-level intelligence as a former FBI director, that if I was to see the numbers 47, what else would they be talking about as it pertains to 47? Clearly, that's the president of the United States. Even if I bought the claim that he was ignorant about 86, why would I post a photo with the numbers 47 in it, knowing he's currently in the White House? I just don't get it. I really don't. And again, Democrats will be quiet about this. Now, Democrats are not quiet about this next story, and that is Walmart. And I want you to hear how CNN is already looking to scare Americans based on this recent announcement from the CEO. Take a look.
Tonight, prices are going up. America's largest retailer, Walmart, warning today that it will have to hike prices because of Trump's tariffs. Here's the CEO of Walmart.
We will do our best to keep our prices as low as possible. But given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins.
So who then will be absorbing some of these costs? Well, Main Street America. Everybody who shops at Walmart, and that is almost everyone. Walmart is the biggest retailer and the biggest private sector employer in the United States. Now, according to Capital One, they did all this research on Walmart. It's fascinating. They say 95% of Americans shop at Walmart. Regular Walmart shoppers visit an average of 67 times a year. And people who shop at Walmart spend 13.5% of their shopping dollars at Walmart. The average Walmart shopper, a woman with a household income between $40,000 and $80,000. So Walmart raising prices is not a small business. It is American business as Americans know it. And Walmart raising prices exposes the black and white reality that Trump's campaign promise was false.
Okay, so if you're concerned by what CNN was just spewing there, which is a misleading story, don't worry, because Devoria is going to provide some facts for you here, okay? Fact number 1, total sales are up 21%. Fact number 2, Walmart just reported a 24.2% profit margin, which is the highest ever in Q1 2025. And fact number 3, overall for the revenue of the company has hit $165 billion, up 2.5% year over year. So I don't think Walmart is hurting, even though they're trying to package this announcement as, oh, because of President Trump, we have no choice but to do this.
Well, I think we're selectively looking at the data and we're going over what Walmart said today, but there's other data. I mean, I'll just read what our friends at Axios said today. None of the data showing the kinds of recessionary or inflationary conditions implied by business and consumer surveys. I mean, I think maybe some of this is being overblown. Number one. Number two.
The data does come in on a lag. I will say that. Continue.
Well, I'm just reading you the journalism here, and I'm a pro-journalist kind of guy. and so I think maybe some of the concerns have been overblown. That's number one. Number two, we have seen some softening in the inflationary pressures. There have been some indications that some prices have been coming down in some things. Eggs, for instance, are now much lower.
Not strollers or car seats.
Okay. I mean, does the country run on
every single
car
American family who has a child needs a car seat?
I'm just saying. I think it's.
You're talking to a couple of moms with young kids.
And I've got 4.
You got 4 of them. You spent probably a fortune in your life on car seats. Okay.
Okay. So again, I have to stop this because I want to make sure we continue to push common sense out there for people who are watching. I don't believe car seats is a concern for parents out there. I don't believe it's the sole reason why their bank account may be low on funds. The cost of electricity, fuel, food, rent, insurance, those are things that will drain a person's bank account, particularly parents with kids.
I'm just telling you that I think when we're collectively trying to make a case against Trump, we selectively look at certain data, but then we ignore other data.
I'm not trying to make a case against Trump. I'm just saying things are about to get more expensive.
We're ignoring the massive amount of private investment that's coming into the country. We're ignoring the rebound in the stock market. We're ignoring the trade deals that have been cut and are currently being cut. So I'm not arguing that Walmart shouldn't be listened to, but at the same time, there is some indication that maybe some of these fears have been overblown. I'll just say one more thing. When inflation was raging out of control under Biden, every Democrat rushed to every television camera to argue that it was corporate greed. So I'll be interested to see if Democrats are anxious to take up Walmart on this today. Is it still corporate greed, or is it going to be total Trump blame?
Yeah, that's why we love Scott Jennings, because he calls it out every single time. And we can go back through the footage, but I'm sure you guys already know. They were literally defending Biden inflation, right? Remember Biden, what do they call it? Bidenomics, okay? They were fiercely defending that and saying, no, that's not what's actually causing inflation. It was President Trump in his first term that actually caused it. I mean, these people are pathetic. And you see how they cut him off and they try to interrupt his point and try to dish in some other stuff in there to, I guess, push back. It's just, that's why nobody trusts the media anymore, okay? I think I made my point. Now, here's another clip that I think you'll enjoy. What Walmart is doing is what the media just did a month ago when it came to the stock market. Take a look.
The problem with chasing prices for any one item or the stock market where it is that it changes. And then you get caught with your pants down, just like we saw with people freaking out about the stock market plummeting. And now it's had a nice rebound. I hope no one panic sold. But the fact of the matter is this is a global restructuring of trade. And you talked about, say, toys and electronics with China. This isn't just about opening new markets globally for American producers. This isn't just about lower rates for American consumers. This is about pulling people away from relying on China for important industries like electronics, like medicine, so forth.
Chips.
So
Exactly.
Chips. It goes on and on. So look, these trade deals are being worked out every day. There'll be more rolled out. We obviously have seen fluctuations with what's going on with China, down from 145 down now to 30, maybe bounce back up. It'll bounce back up and down. The question really remains is how much will the price increases be and how long will it be sticking?
Now, before I show you another clip of how the economic collapse that they claim was supposed to happen never actually materialize. I first want to provide you with an update on what you could be doing so you're not focusing so much on the stock market. You should be focusing on your retirement because you already know that President Trump has been standing up to China. Billionaires are fleeing the stock market like Warren Buffett. And as you can see here, companies like Walmart are claiming they now have to hike up their prices. This is why I trust the experts at Colonial Metals Group to help you shield your savings with gold. If you want to learn more information about it, all you have to do is visit freegoldguide.com/Devori or call 1-888-757-5158 for your free gold guide on how to bulletproof your IRA and 401k with gold tax-free. You could also qualify for a free home safe and as much as $7,500 in free silver. Once again, that's freegoldguide.com/Devori or call 1-888-757-5158.
So here's where we stand today when it comes to the stock market. Since the announcement of the trade deal with China, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 2.6%, the S&P 4.4%. Even the NASDAQ has rallied and rallied big. How's that 401k? How about inflation? You heard Congressman Crockett talking about inflation. Well, inflation is up 2.3% on consumer prices. That's the lowest since 2021. Today, the producer price index, which is how much it costs to make things, came in significantly lower than expectations. Oil, well, if it affects gas prices, it's good news. It may not be as good news for business, but it went down today, and it went down big. Why? Pricing in potential peace with Iran. So oil looking at almost $62 a barrel. And then there is the infamous price of eggs. The price of eggs are down 12.7%. That's the lowest, the biggest drop month over month since 1984. That's what we panicked over. 30 days of economic news where we sit today. It's looking pretty good under President Trump.
You see, that's why you got to be careful with who you're listening to. Especially mainstream media, which I don't see why people even watch cable news today. It's frightening when I hear that people are doing that to themselves because it's repetitive, right? And they have a narrative to drive home, and it doesn't take much. I mean, they are experts at this. And that's why you never want to react in the short term. You want to actually wait for things to play out, and then you make your decision from a place of logic and being calm and not being erratic or panicked as the media would have you feel. Now, speaking of panicking and being erratic, in our next story, Democrats are back at it again. They want reparations and they want it now. Let's take a look at that.
And discrimination against Black people. We are in a moment of anti-Blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-Blackness is to be pro-Black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations now. So let's make it clear. There is a debt that does exist. This country has taken so much from Black folks and has a debt it owes because for over 400 years into this very day, this country has stolen Black labor, Black lives, Black futures. Industries were built and maintained through the subjugation of Black people in this country, and wealth was built and maintained through the discriminatory policies that still plague us to this day. And to be clear, some people directly benefited from it or are direct beneficiaries of it.
You know, I don't really talk much about culture, and maybe I should. And let me know if you guys want to hear more of my opinion on those things. But this is a joke, okay? Trying to punish someone of today of what happened 50, 100, 200 years ago is ridiculous, okay? That's number one. Secondly, who's going to pay for this exactly? Because you guys are already complaining that we're in $36 trillion in debt and that Americans are going to suffer because of President Trump's tariffs. So who's going to pay for this? And number three, when it really comes down to it, you think they will pass this piece of legislation? Absolutely not. This is a show for them, okay? She has to come out like she's been doing every single year and announce this for her constituents because this is what they believe in.
And if you're wondering why now, well, she does do this every single year, but this time she says it is urgent as President Trump is dismantling those DEI programs across federal government, and she claims that the administration is eroding those advances made by Black Americans.
Whether those be affirmative action or equity and inclusion, you know, policies that make it easier for folks to get jobs and not be discriminated against. The firing of federal workers, where we know a lot of Black folks went because it was one of the only employers that could not discriminate legally against Black folks, right? We see how easy it is to actually erode those types of advances.
All right. Well, listen, the only way to respond to people like that who are unhinged is with facts. In 1960, to my knowledge, only 6 members of Congress existed that were black. The number today is 66, in case she was wondering whether or not President Trump has dismantled progress. Oh, and then the federal workforce, even though black people only make up 13% of the population, they make up 19% of the federal workforce. So I don't know where she's going with this, and it's really to nowhere. But this is the other thing, personally speaking here. No government is ever going to stop black people from being successful, not in 2025. The only people stopping black people from being successful is black people themselves. And a great example of that is how many black people complain that the system is against them, and while they're complaining, they're in a position of power. I just don't get it. Now, another breaking news from President Trump, where he announced earlier today that a nuclear deal with Iran is actually on the table and is a strong possibility of happening. Let's hear more details from MSNBC of all people.
Iran and the Trump administration now appear to be quite close to reaching an agreement. Here in Tehran, I spoke to a top advisor to this country's supreme leader, one of the most powerful men in Iran, and he said that Iran is willing to do a deal under certain conditions. And he laid out what Iran's conditions and expectations are. He said that Iran would agree to forever give up a nuclear weapon, not have a nuclear bomb, that it would give up its highly enriched uranium, only enrich uranium to a low level, a level required for civilian use only, that it would allow in international inspectors to monitor all of this activity in exchange for the immediate lifting of all sanctions. That interview got a lot of attention. It has been played on state TV here in Iran. President Trump mentioned it on Truth Social. He talked to reporters about it, and he said that Iran has, quote, sort of agreed to the deal. Now, the deal has not been finalized, but it does seem like a framework, perhaps a framework along those lines, does seem to be emerging.
Now, this deal isn't necessarily about helping Iran. It's about preventing endless wars. That's why MAGA supports this move. And of course, people like Tom Cotton would not support it, which is why he's been silent. Both parties have caved to the military-industrial complex, we know that, and neocon foreign policy. Now, here's President Trump announcing this earlier today. I want you to hear it for yourself. Take a look.
I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's 2 steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step. We're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace.
Now, this entire debate is more nuanced, and in some ways I could definitely oversimplify this, but I just want to make this point very clear. MAGA is definitely going to support this because this is another way to prevent endless wars, okay? That is a simple explanation here. But also, another explanation is that there are Republicans within the party that doesn't believe that this is the right way to go. They want a more hardline stance when it comes to Iran. And their way of doing it is different than President Trump. Some, like Lindsey Graham, he would rather execute strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Okay, so again, there's difference of opinion within the Republican Party, but the bottom line is this: if this will help the country, particularly America, prevent another endless war where American taxpayers are footing the bill, then sign me up, please. Now, this takes us to the next clip of Congressman Jim Hines, Democrat, who actually praised President Trump for this move. Take a look.
I'm not in the habit of praising Donald Trump, but I got to tell you, the last week or so in the Middle East, Ukraine, Russia is a different story. Yeah. The last week in the Middle East, I go into the week fearing that the Prime Minister of Israel is hell-bent on going to war with Iran. I go into the week worried that we're going to miss the thread of an opportunity in Syria for the new leadership there. And I got to tell you, I think the president has, in this last week or so, played the Middle East pretty darn well. My guess is that the Prime Minister of Israel is cooling his heels a little bit on planning for Iran. My guess is that he's probably thinking through a better situation than he otherwise might want for Gaza. And look, it appears we're going to give Sharia a chance in Syria. That's pretty good stuff. Again, not in the habit of praising this president, but I got to give him some kudos there.
Now, he might be careful because a week from now, the party may force him to walk back his comments, right? Because again, that contradicts everything they've been saying about the president since day one. And that's the reality that we find ourselves in when it comes to American politics. But I want to get your guys' opinion in the comments section below. More importantly, one, what do you make of the former FBI director James Comey uploading that picture, which clearly incites violence, even if it didn't? It referenced the current president of the United States, and then having to delete it. And now he's under investigation. And what do you make of the CEO of Walmart claiming they now have to hike up their prices due to President Trump's tariffs? And please let me know what you think about reparations. Put all your answers in the comment section below. Earlier today, in a shocking court move, the judge out of Wisconsin has pleaded not guilty. This is the individual that was helping illegal aliens avoid arrest. If you missed out on the details of that story, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.